Find someone who once had money and no longer has money, have mercy on them. The second category is someone who had authority and power and no longer has authority and power. Have mercy on them. Yalina sente nga alina emmali ala n'amugera n'emugwako oyo musaasire mukwatibwa ekisa ne yalina obuyinza ne bumugibwako. Now, whenever I'm following that trial, I'm wondering what is going on from glory to dust. What is this young man going through? But coming back home yesterday, that is Nakawa Chief Magistrate Court, committed retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye and his co-accused, that is to the International War Crimes Division Court for full trial. Now here, chances of bail seem to be reducing forever. And yesterday, his lawyers and his friends and of course sympathizers, party members, almost protested. It wasn't very easy in court, but everything happened. However, there's a story that is disturbing me. A man in Weyogerere, to be more specific, that is in Bukasa, Chirinya, Weyogerere, Kira municipality, that is one Fred Sekabira. It is alleged that this young man lit his house on fire. So him, his wife, and 4 beautiful children. I'm looking at the clips of these young girls, very beautiful, all perished in the fire.
And now that is another statistic.
Now, it was him, it is alleged that it is him who started the fire deliberately because he had gone around telling friends that, you see, please prepare and be there, stand with my people and ensure I get a decent burial. He had spoken to the stage and the leadership of the border community where he has been working, that is where you get at the stage, telling them, Banange, wemalo tunda pichi yange, sigenda kudda mukulabika. Naye mufangayo nenzikibwa bulungi. Now, he's been having issues with his wife. Police had intervened. We are told LC had intervened. He was suspecting the wife to be cheating.
Right.
And they had issues along that line. But up now I'm asking myself, why kill these innocent children?
Right.
Second, why take your own life? You sell your border, you get up front of 1M, maybe he used that to buy petrol and all that because the neighbors had a blast. And coming, almost there was nothing to rescue. So that means if it is what we think and what preliminary investigations are showing, maybe he bought like a jerry can or something that easily burns and when he lit.
But also, let me speak into the statement he's made that he told that they'd been having issues with the family and people have known. And I've come to understand that authorities sometimes who get to know, not necessarily the police, well, the police maybe could be in, but
the locals, the
chairpersons, sometimes families or people who are just around the community, church community. Most times when they get to know about these cases and they're reported, there are statements made such as, these things happen amongst, married people. They'll sort themselves out. Yet these calls, these cases that are being reported, these constant cases being reported to you are more of awareness points of you taking the responsibility to take care of these people who are in a vulnerable state. I believe someone could have done something out of all the people who were told, but unfortunately, perhaps they were left to try and sort things out as a family, and a whole family is gone.
And
but
see
anyway,
what hurts
that's
me
sad.
so much. We have an issue of not believing that we can part ways. Julie, I'm a married man, and if there is anything, I love my wife so very much. But when time comes, and I see that we are no longer compatible, it is okay to separate. Because I wasn't born with you in the first place.
Right.
Second, I know desires and certain things can't change. And I know that someone can come across someone better than me. Or I can come across someone maybe better than her. And if my mind, and if her mind says this can no longer, why stay to the extent of taking someone's life?
Right.
Let's agree that, Judy, the truth is we can no longer be. Let me move on.
Very sad
you also
indeed.
Continue with life.
Let's continue on with what is on the local scene, Robert.
Well, moving forward, let's begin with the Kizza Besigye trial. Now, the Nakawa Chief Magistrate Court has committed retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, Haj Abedi Lutale, and Captain Olauro Dennis to the International Crimes War Division Court for full trial. Besigye and other co-accused who ordered their legal team to move out of court in protest of the court's ruling of not allowing them to be released on mandatory bail, made it hard for court to commit them to high court, although the prayers were overruled by court. The accused retired Colonel Kizza Besigye, Haj Abedi Lutale, and Captain Olauro Dennis are charged with treason and misprision of treason. Before committal, prosecution first made some amendments in the charge sheet by adding more ingredients in the charges. According to the committal papers presented before Chief Magistrate Catherine Nantege, prosecution stated that Dr. Retired Colonel Kizza Besigye Kifefe, a former senior army officer and founding member of Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, allegedly used international meetings in Geneva, Switzerland, and Nairobi, Kenya throughout 2023 and 2024 to coordinate the plan to overthrow the government of Uganda. Court also had these meetings reportedly involved foreign operatives, including a Kardashian intelligence agent, alias or also known as AW, with whom Besigye discussed military training, sabotage, and even an assassination attempt on President Yoweri Museveni via drone strikes. Prosecution further alleged that Dr. Kizza Besigye also solicited and received $5,000 from AW to fund the transportation of 36 Ugandans to Kisumu, Kenya for military training, although the group was arrested before the training and later deported to Uganda and charged with treason. Besigye is further accused of requesting military-grade weapons, including surface-to-air missiles, counterfeit currencies to tamper with the economies, and a target poison critical military installation, including major barracks across Uganda. Other evidence to be relayed on by the DPP includes videos and audio recordings, social media chats, immigration logos, and call records. Police in Namugongo have evicted vendors operating along Kyaliwajjara Street, citing security concerns. According to Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson Patrick Onyango, prior engagements had been held with the affected parties, during which they are asked to leave at least a 15-meter clearance from the main road. The overall security presence at both the Catholic and Anglican shrines has been intensified, with restricted entry measures in the place to ensure safety. It had become common for members of the business community to vend their merchandise along Kyaliwajjara Street during the Matter celebration, a practice that security authorities said disrupts traffic flow. Police confirm having engaged with affected parties to reach the resolution. In coordination with the organizers at the Catholic Shrine, security agencies have agreed to create additional measures and emergency exits to minimize the risk of stampedes, especially after the celebrations. At both shrines, there is tightened security presence, including both personnel and sniffer dogs. Police also intend to strengthen collaboration with other sister security agencies during any potential risk. Authorities have provided an update on the ongoing escort of trekking pilgrims, with territorial commanders implementing the directive issued by the Inspector General of Police. Members of the surrounding community are encouraged to plan strategically to avoid unnecessary inconveniences. Meanwhile, those with intentions to disrupt the celebrations have been warned, as security forces will not hesitate to take appropriate action. President Yoweri Museveni has been hailed for his transformational leadership, which has strengthened Uganda's economy and empowered communities across the country. This was during day one of the two-day Musevenomics event in Kampala, aimed at taking stock of President Museveni's 4 decades at the helm of Uganda's leadership. Taking stock of President Museveni's and the NRM government's achievements over the decades has brought together participants from all walks of life for a moment of reflection and dialogue. The two-day Musevenomics event is focusing on value addition and industrialization and the cost of doing business in Uganda. Speaker after speaker praised President Yoweri Museveni for his initiatives and championing transformative projects that continue to impact positively on Uganda's economic trajectory. Dr. Muhumuza Fred was the keynote speaker and was tasked with unpacking the concept of Musevenomics. In his remarks, the Deputy Governor of Bank of Uganda, Professor Augustus Nwagaba, emphasized the need for economic independence for sustainable development. Norbert Mao, the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, emphasized the importance of nationalism and patriotism, especially in navigating the trials and tribulations facing the nation. Musevenomics refers to the ideological definition and understanding of special blend of capitalism, liberalism and socialism as practiced by the NRM government under the stewardship of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And finally, on the local scene, the Mufti of Uganda, His Eminence Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Onijir Mubaje, officially launched preparations for the Muslim Martyrs' Day Shuhadi commemoration scheduled to take place on June 10th this very year. The event was held at Masjid Nur al-Shihad, a historical mosque located in Namugongo, the site where early Muslim martyrs were executed for their faith. The Mufti of Uganda, His Eminence Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, was accompanied by the Deputy Mufti Sheikh Ali Mohammed Waiswa, District Qadi of Wakiso, Sheikh Elias Kigozi, and other prominent Muslim leaders. The delegation toured key Islamic heritage in the site in Namugongo, including the monument built by the late President Idi Amin Dada, the grave of the first Imam Abdallah Kigundu, the Quran School, and Masjid Nur Shad itself. In his remarks, Mufti Mubaje emphasized the distinctiveness of Muslim matters in Uganda's history and underlined that this site is now a national concern. He revealed that both the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council and the government have ongoing development plans for Namugongo Memorial Site, including the expansion and enhancement to accommodate more pilgrims and visitors. Speaking about the upcoming Shuhada Day celebrations, the Mufti confirmed that the President of Uganda will be the chief guest at the national event on June 10th, which aims at highlighting the contribution and sacrifices of the early Muslims in the country's history. The district Qadi Sheikh Elias Kigozi provided historical context during the visit, narrating the importance of the Islamic site in the different places in Wakiso and the Muslim fraternity in general. Muslim matters. We have the Catholics, we have the Protestants, say the Catholics and the Anglicans. Now, many didn't know that we had Muslim matters actually. But yeah, here we are. Now it is peaking. It started slowly, I think by Professor Katerega something, and now here we are. Even the president, come 10th June, is going to be there and officiate at this.
Right. Thank you very much, Robert, for that update from the local scene. Let's have a look at what is on the foreign scene. And we are starting off with matters. Trump, U.S. President Donald Trump, can keep collecting import taxes for now. An appeals court has said a day after trade ruling found the bulk of his global tariffs to be illegal. A federal appeals court granted a bid from the White House to temporarily suspend the lower court's order, which ruled that Trump had overstepped his power by imposing the duties. Wednesday's judgment from the U.S. Court of International Trade drew the ire of Trump officials who called it an example of judicial overreach. Small businesses and a group of states had challenged the measures, which are at the heart of Trump's agenda and have shaken the world economy. In its appeal, the Trump administration said the decision issued by the trade court a day earlier had improperly second-guessed the president and threatened to unravel months of hard-fought trade negotiations. The political branches, not courts, make foreign policy a chart economic policy, it said in the filing. Shortly before Thursday's tariff reprieve from the appeals court, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt told a press briefing, America cannot function if President Trump or any other president, for that matter, has their sensitive diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges. Now, staying in the United States, and this time round still with court but matters Sean Diddy Combs, a former assistant of rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs has told a New York court that he repeatedly sexually assaulted her while she was employed by him for 8 years. The witness, who testified anonymously under the pseudonym Maya, also tearfully said she lived in fear of violent rages from Mr. Combs as she walked by his side. The hip-hop mogul watched from the defense table with arms folded in his lap as she testified about her fears of retribution for reporting his alleged abuse. Mr. Combs, who is 55 years, pleaded not guilty to federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. I couldn't tell him no about a sandwich, she said. I couldn't tell him no about anything. Mr. Combs' legal team has not yet had the chance to question Meyer or respond to her claims. She is the second witness in the New York trial to allege that Mr. Combs sexually abused her, along with Mr. Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura. Maya testified that she started working for Mr. Combs as a personal assistant in 2009 when she was in her mid-20s, joining what she described as a chaotic and toxic work environment. Now, coming back to the continent, a video clip of a laughing Jocelyn Smith, who was 6 years old when she went missing more than a year ago in South Africa, left most people in the courtroom sobbing. It was shown during a hearing in Saldanha Bay, near Cape Town, ahead of the life sentence given to Jocelyn's mother, a drug addict who is believed to have sold her for money. Raquel Smith, also known as Kelly Smith, was convicted of kidnapping and trafficking her daughter earlier this month. The 35-year-old mother of 3 was convicted and sentenced along with her boyfriend, Jaquen Apollis, and their friend, Stevino Van Ryn. Even the court interpreter could not hold back her tears as she translated the victim impact statements into English. A court official read out those statements first in Afrikaans, the language spoken by those in the impoverished Meadows informal settlement of Saldanha Bay, where Jocelyn had lived. In their own words, Jocelyn's grandmother, the family friend who had wanted to adopt Jocelyn, and her teacher spoke of their pain and bewilderment about how she could have been sold by her mother. One witness during the trial had alleged this was to a traditional healer known in South Africa as a Sangoma, who wanted Jocelyn for her eyes and skin. A local pastor also testified that he had once heard Smith talking of selling her children for 20,000 rand. That is about $1,100, but would have been willing to accept a lower figure of $275. Very sad indeed, the things money can cause us to do. Quickly, Robert, let's have a look at what is on the local scene.
Well, looking at the New Vision this morning, list of implicated ministries, districts and agencies inside. Now, civil servants, 21.5 billion loan money missing. And pilgrims share experience. There's a picture there. Those are in wheelchairs, but they're making it to Namugongo. And who will emerge Uganda's best choir? Well, that is part of the Matters Day celebrations. And World Bank resumes funding, some good news there. Musevenomics Conference and NRM achievements. Supplement is inside for you in the New Vision this morning, but also First Milk Export Algeria. Now there's a truck there that is taking it, yes, exporting our milk. Now quickly to the Daily Monitor, states evidence against Besigye. So much in there. And family killed in fire called for help in vain, something we discussed as we were starting the show. Now here we have Parliament allows government to borrow 1.9 trillion in current budget. And yes,
wow,
we are borrowing, it's not a grant. And isn't there a category for the Ruzira, what a category for the lizard? Now the lizard here, one of the National Media Group journalists is shining in some awards, and the lizard is wondering if there isn't a category for the lizard as well, so that he can contribute. Well, those are more stories when you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor or the New Vision, but fly us to Kenya and of course Tanzania.
Yes, indeed, and we're sticking to Kenya. Weep Not World, that is paying tribute to Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who passed away at the age of 87. And more about him, his life, his legacy. Buy yourself a copy of the Daily Nation. But let's quickly take a look at what is in the Gazette as of 30th May 2025 and contents in the Mining and Minerals Act notices, the National Women's Council Act notice, Education, Pre-Primary, Primary and Post-Primary Act notices, the Advocates Act notices, the Companies Act notices, the Insolvency Act notices, Workers' Compensation Act notice, the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Regulations notices, the Uganda Revenue Authority notice, the Biofuels Regulations notice, the Electoral Commission notice, the Police Control of Private Security Organizations, and the Trademarks Act notice of expiry of trademark, Trademark Act's conditional notice, and the Trademark Act registration of applications. And in the notice of grant of an exploration license, hereby notified that exploration license number EL00508, registered as number 003534, has been granted in the accordance with the provisions of the Section 43 and Section 47 to Honkoi Mining Company, PO Box 113758, Kampala, for a period of 4 years. And this is recognized by Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development. Also another notice of grant exploration license, and that is to Steel Honkoi Company Limited, 4 years, effective 25th March, and still recognized by Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development. And lastly, a notice of grant exploration still to Alliance Mining Limited, and this is effective 4th April 2025, and as recognized by Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamu, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development. And that's a quick look at what is with our dailies today. Good Morning Uganda does continue, but let's take a short break and enjoy some music from Ray G and Truth 256, My Rules. It's a Friday.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Baby, you matter, no kwata circumstance, ojimata, ojimato jinamia, obra no kutsinjire.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, welcome to UBC and welcome to Good Morning Uganda this Friday morning. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi and I'm not alone. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintana in studio this Friday morning. Now, the Finance Ministry introduced engagements on the 2025-26 budget, and that was launched yesterday as the government concluded on the budget framework and drafting process for the next financial year, and is preparing to table it before Parliament for approval. Now, Honourable Matia Kasaija urged the public to heavily invest in engagements and discussions that will begin next week officially, where awareness and deepening and ownership of the national budget is encouraged for all of us as the public, but also institutions that are involved in this matter. And that aside, looking at matters entertainment, and in particular, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, Dirty Combs, quite a number of names that he has branded himself over the years. But a former assistant of P. Diddy has told court just a few hours ago, told court that he repeatedly sexually abused her as she worked for him for 8 years. Currently, Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, is facing charges to which he has so far pleaded not guilty. Federal charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, as well as transportation to engage in prostitution. Good morning once again, and welcome to the show as we kick it off this Friday. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Julie, and of course our viewer. It is a Friday. Hope you're set to usher in the weekend, and of course have some bit of rest or do some extra work. What do I mean? If you're done with your Monday to Friday, go to the garden, go to the farm, visit people. The phone has taken so much from us, but have time. Visit people, have that interaction with people, rather than saying, I sent mom mobile money, I talked to her via Zoom, we had a conference call and all that. Please, there's so much that technology is robbing away from us. So find some time this weekend, go and check on them. Well, Julie, in Islam, they tell us that when you find a person who once had money and no longer has money, there are two categories, Islam tells us.
Right.
If you find someone who once had money and no longer has money, have mercy on them. The second category is someone who had authority and power and no longer has authority and power. Have mercy on them.
Inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday, 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country